Oh, hello, it's John Harris from The Guardian here. We're in Sheffield, Hallam making a film today, wondering if there's anyone there we can talk to. How has it felt watching what's happened?
Well, it's slightly amazing, actually. I mean, frankly, we're not surprised.
I feel quite excited about May the 7th, the morning after the election, because it strikes me the moment may have arrived for loads of us to say, now is the time, change this rotten, bankrupt, stupid voting system.
Well, I don't think I want to disagree with those words, no. It's why I came into politics in the first place, as a young man, to think, why on earth do we elect people in this curious way? And it's been with me ever since. That is why I'm a Liberal Democrat. You know. I mean, I believe in electoral reform first, and I'm a Liberal Democrat. If you like, that's my way in.
The revolution might be coming.
Yes. Well, why not?
You're too level-headed, you Liberal Democrats, aren't you?
It just doesn't seem fair. You know, you might vote for a lot of people and then they end up with hardly any seats in Parliament. It needs changing.
Do you feel excited? Some mornings I wake up and think the revolution might be here at the moment.
I'm extremely excited, but then we do live in, quite a fad sort of celebrity-driven society. Yeah. And, I just hope that, we are able to sustain, and energise the election.
Sounds like you have a fear a bit that this might be like Princess Diana or Susan Boyle or one of those things where everybody gets excited for a week and then forgets about it.
Well, I don't believe that will happen this time because I've got faith in the British public.
That was Sheffield Hallam. Now we're in the Peak District on our way to the Labour-Tory marginal of High Peak, where the candidates are about to meet some rather unexpected visitors. Campaigners from an organisation called Vote for a Change, who are taking the fight for electoral reform all around the country.
If we end up with a hung parliament, I think there'll be grave dangers for the country because there'll be the uncertainty. Even last week, I think the pound fell. The city are getting jittery at the prospect.
What's a hung parliament?
What's a hung parliament?
Couldn't do any harm, can it?
No.
It's got to be worse than it is now.
I mean, it is said Labour might finish last in votes and first in seats. Something so manifestly unfair that people might pour out onto the streets and say, this system doesn't work. Where are you going to be if that happens?
Well, if I'm in Parliament, it's something we will have to look at very closely and take, talk to other parties to see what they want to do.
Campaigning for a hung parliament.
We had Tony Blair and the Labour Party getting the support of 22% of the electorate and then striding around talking about a mandate and business as usual. That's bankrupt. You don't worry that in the event of an election result that seems as unfair as that, defending first past the post might put you in the position of Ceausescu in 1989, standing there trying to get the crowd to calm down when people's blood is running and they want change and they realise it's a chronically unfair system.
Well, I'm not an expert on Nicolae Ceausescu, I'll have to be honest with you. I personally think we've had the first past the post system for hundreds of years. It's always served us very well, and I don't see any reason to change it.
How's it served us well?
I mean, Gordon Brown's already made Labour's position clear. We will move to an alternative vote system.
Is that enough, though? I mean, the point is, the reason the Lib Dems getting maybe a third of the vote and only 100 seats will be seen as being unfair is because of the clear gap between the two. AV doesn't really address that so much. It's not a proportional system.
Not entirely, but I think there's a balance to be struck between moving towards a proportional system and retaining a constituency link. And
I've lost track of the number of doors I've knocked on since, well, over the last few months, but particularly in the last few days, few weeks. And I have to say, I'm thinking as I'm talking, I cannot remember a single person bringing up the issue of electoral reform. Most people are discussing the economy, immigration, issues like that. Electoral reform is not high on people's agendas.
It's too easy that though, isn't it? Because if you knock on a door and someone says, I'm not voting, I don't see how politics works for me, what sits under that is the fact that our electoral system doesn't work.
Your face suggests that you're not impressed.
Surely it would have changed by now if there was a reason.
Well, it's changed all over Europe.
Well, yeah.
It's pretty much everywhere.
Many years of slavery, didn't we, on that basis? People saying, well, it'll never change. And sooner or later somebody says, this system's not right, we've got to get rid of it. Why don't you vote regularly?
I'm in an area where it's pretty much assured of who's going to
So your vote doesn't count, right?
Pretty much, and that's where this comes in. So,
right.
Yeah.
So you might be in the market to be persuaded that...
Possibly. I'm going to read the website.
See, I'm looking forward to people camping outside Parliament and creating a stink after the election, but I don't think you're bringing your tent.
No, I like the idea. I probably would vote if it was proportional representation.
Here's Willie from Vote for a Change. Can you?
How you doing? We think that the voting system is designed for a Victorian age of steam age politics where two big parties fight it out. We need to break that culture of I'm right, you're wrong, and get a much more consensual way of doing politics and working together. I think
Much more grown-up way of working, I think.
I'd agree. I think there's a huge wind of change blowing over this country, and it's not that Nick Clegg's particularly radical or good. He's just managed to get a sail that catches that wind.
I do agree with that.
Good on you. You may have got a couple of converts eventually.
Lovely, thank you. It's lovely to meet you.
I come from a working class background where there was pits and everything. So you look what happened there. That got rid of all the pits, all the factories. People lost jobs out of recession. Right. If that happens again, that's going to happen again.
Yeah, and you know how many people voted for that Conservative government? Maximum for the duration of its time in office, about 42%. More of us voted against Mrs Thatcher than voted for her. She ruined where you live. That's a case in point of how awful our voting system is.
So there's this big fuss about us not registering, but if we don't vote for the party that wins, we might as well not.
If loads of people vote for you and you don't have many seats in, there's less chance of getting your points across, isn't there, really?
Why hasn't this happened already? Because it makes sense.
Partly because people are scared of change. Two big parties who have the power don't want to give it away.
Exactly. So how do we change it?
Well,
Do you want to take a look on the website that we've got on the flyers?
Yes.
Yeah.
These people seem to have pulled you in their direction a bit. You think there's something in what they're saying?
Perhaps, yeah.
Definitely.
This interview right here takes away from the negative stereotype of young people.
No, I agree.
It's one of the frustrating, though really worthwhile things about politics, that nothing's ever simple. And you can be excited and enthralled one minute and despondent the next. And we've met a couple of candidates today who represent what I'd consider to be the old politics, not just in terms of their party affiliations, but also because they don't seem to understand the mess that politics is in and the exciting prospect that we might be faced with after the election. But then you come into this park in Buxton and you talk to these guys here who are sports students, and it's not that they're suddenly ready to start the revolution, but this stuff's getting through. They will talk about how unfair the election system is. They will talk about the fact that Nick Clegg seems to be a politician who in his own modest way talks in slightly different terms, and what you then end up thinking is, well, if they're thinking that, millions of other people must be thinking that as well.